healing. Healing in Mists of Pandaria and state of the healing currently with patch 547 is kind of weird because, well, let's start with the healing mechanics. We have standard heals, like direct heals, we have HOTS, we have absorb mechanic, which is game breaking, and we have smart heals. Smart heals are core of every healer now, and every healer is gonna spam smart heals now because basically smart heals are smart. I know that's, but that's a funny statement, but smart heals gives you the reduce the lag because it's happening on the server, and reduced lag often saves life in terms of people and hard modes and hard encounters and generally hard stuff. But we also have absorb mechanic, which is crazy. Absorb mechanic is crazy because if you have a tank which has a 1 million HP and he's gonna get a bubble for 600k, then he has 1,600,000 HP, and when the boss hits, he's gonna eat the absorb first. So what happens is that effectively the tank has more HP, so it's safe. It's safe to do some stuff that would be not safe if we would not have the absorb. Also, absorb will steal the healing from the healing meters from other people, but that's not a really big problem. If somebody is worried about the recount or SCADA, and he's not worried about the boss going down, he's just a bad healer in general and a bad player. So, but what's another thing in the priest that is crazy is that he brings with Atonement tons of healing, tons of absorbs that are overpowered currently, and he brings smart heals and DPS. So generally speaking, if we are talking about a good disco priest, he's gonna bring around 100k DPS to your ride, absorb and heals, and that's crazy. That's crazy, and they are super good. And I love disco priests. I always were a fan of discipline priests since Wrath of the Lich King, where we first saw the absorb mechanic. That was great. And back there, recount and SCADA were not counting correctly absorbs, and people were not really people that were not doing theory crafting were not really in this mood for absorbs, while absorbs were always overpowered. And I think that they're gonna be overpowered. And if we're gonna think even about more in-depth tanks like warrior or monk, which have this active mitigation which brings absorbs, and you got absorbs on top of this absorb and divine aegis absorbs on top of the absorb, you can actually put like Widow, like a green and blue geared tank into normals and actually go through like first, second and the third part of the normal, because we can, yeah. And the absorbs, if the guy has like 500k HP and he gets an absorb for 600k, he's suddenly a tank with 1.1 million k HP, which is crazy. And Prayer of Mending, which is gonna be nerfed in Warlords of Dreanor. It's gonna be nerfed to have a cast time. Will this remove smart heals from the games? Maybe smart heals will become garbage, but I think that's one of the few spells that priest can actually cast on the movement. While, for example, if we're gonna think about druid, he can cast on the movement almost every single spell. So a nerf to Wild Growth is not a really nerf for him at all. Okay, so next, what is next? So we have two classes, druids and shaman, which have a strange mechanic, in my opinion, of healing. Druid have this efflorescence, and with this glyph that he can place a mushroom, and the efflorescence is a permanent heal on the mushroom. That's kind of like, they kind of like broke druid HOTS and then tried to repair it by nerfing it. So they put in this efflorescence, which is a permanent heal. So if you're gonna put it in the right position and probably stack it with other druids, you can actually not do anything because it's gonna heal the encounter on its own. which is also like pretty broken. And you have shamans with the totems, and totems like healing stream totems on the talents. It heals like crazy, and you can reset the cooldown and heal again and heal again and heal again. Actually, shamans are really good state. I think they're the least broken healer like currently. We have paladins which procs absorbs, which have like a lot of like holy radiance, light of dawn, and all these skills. And basically you don't even have to look at the screen, you just like mash the buttons and it's gonna work eventually. But I don't really like how they design paladins and how it looks through all the years, because paladins were always like a static healer with the beacon and just like, you know, using one spell since vanilla, and then they're trying to fix it. So whenever Blizzard says we're gonna fix paladin healing, they add a skill to it, which is either like useless or it's free and it heals everybody, like we had Light of Dawn previously and all these problems with Holy Radiance. So I don't really like these classes as a healer, and I generally don't feel really comfortable tanking when we have like a paladin healer. But for example, paladin tanks, I always loved them. They were always cool, except vanilla both. And then we have monks, and monks is a strange healer because monk is like a healer that have no mana issues. So we have again like Wrath of the Lich King healer imported into Mists of Pandaria, which is like super overpowered, requires no mana, and is, you know, he can pull crap tons of heals, and there's like no downtime, no problems, nothing. So I think generally speaking, current state of the healers is really balanced, except maybe from Disco Priest, which is a bit ahead, but this seems pretty balanced. Some of the healers are a bit lower on the list, some of them are a bit higher on the list of demands, but in general, you're gonna do it, and it's not like a time where you can exclude somebody, because even if somebody will come as a Holy Priest, which in some situations, especially 10-mans, can be amazing because of the mastery, and that's another topic actually. Holy Priest. I was not saying anything about Holy Priest because I left it to the end, because I think Holy Priest is gonna be Warlords of Draenor top 1 healer at the start of the expansion. First of all, they said we're gonna solve the mana issues, and when Blizzard say we're gonna solve the mana issues, they say basically you're gonna have close to infinite mana. Priests never had close to infinite mana, and that was mostly a problem for Holy Priest, because Discipline Priests always had this time to work the stuff around, but that was called skill. With the Holy Priest, the mastery works like this, that when you're gonna do a single target heal, you're gonna proc a free hot. So if we're gonna see in Warlords of Draenor changing the way that encounters works towards more single target heals, obviously this boosts his throughput a lot. Also, Renew with a glyph is shorter, but you can it's cheap. You can spam it on the whole ride, and when you cast Renew, it heals plus gives a hot, and that can double dip with the mastery and cause insane Renew situations, especially with the correct chakra setup. And you know, you can heal even now. You can heal single target, single heal most of the like encounters on normal with the Holy Priest, but the Holy Priest has to be like really freaking smart. So I think that's actually it. So I think Holy Priest is the way, and a Priest is the way to go for Warlords of Draenor, but I'm not gonna say it now. I'm just gonna say that probably Disco Priest and Absorbs, when Blizzard said we're gonna nerf this, they're gonna nerf it really good, and probably Disco Priest will gonna go away at the start of the expansion, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen later on in the expansion. Probably we're gonna have another comeback of the absorbs, because absorbs just makes this game a little bit more fun. I don't know. What do you guys think?